In this video, we're going to look into the division of complex numbers. And before I continue any further, I'd like to tell you that if you haven't looked into the video that explains the multiplicative inverse of complex number, please do so before you come into the division of complex numbers, because the division of complex numbers employs the concept of a multiplicative inverse of complex number. So without multiplicative inverse of complex number, you may not be able to understand the division of complex numbers. So it's good if you can go through the multiplicative inverse of complex number video and then come to the division of complex number video, which is really going to make it easier for you to understand the division of complex numbers. Alright, here we've got a little explanation about the division of complex numbers. The division of a complex number Z1 by a non-zero complex number Z2 is defined as the multiplication of Z1 by the multiplicative inverse of Z2 and is denoted by Z1 divided by Z2, which means it is the multiplication of Z1 and the multiplicative inverse of Z2. So it's not simply Z2, but it is Z2 to the power of -1. It is the inverse, which can also be written as Z1 times 1 divided by Z2, which can also be written as Z1 divided by Z2, which is exactly what is written here. Alright, so this is the basic explanation of division of complex numbers. Well, going further, we have let Z1 be equal to A1 plus IB1, which is one complex number, and another complex number we have Z2 equals A2 plus IB2. So what's given here according to the definition is that the division of a complex number Z1 by a non-zero complex number Z2 is defined as the multiplication of Z1, that is, multiplication of Z1 by the multiplicative inverse of Z2, which is nothing but Z1 by Z2. So Z1 by Z2 equals A1 plus IB1, which is Z1, times you multiply with the inverse of Z2, right? Which is nothing but A2 divided by, if you are seeing this formula for the first time, you should go to the previous video where we've done multiplicative inverse exclusively. So A2 divided by A2 square plus B2 square plus I times minus of B2 divided by A2 square plus B2 square. Alright. If you wanted the inverse of Z1, then it would have been A1 and B1 in the place of A2 and B2. That's all is the difference. So now in the next step, further simplifying this, we have, now since the denominators are equal here, we have A1 plus IB1 times A2, I times minus B2 is minus IB2 divided by A2 square plus B2 square. Alright, now all that you have to do is just multiply the numerators here. So multiplication of two complex numbers, again, if you haven't come across the multiplication of two complex numbers, you have to go to the video. So there we've done multiplication of complex numbers, which definitely has a certain formula about how you have to multiply two complex numbers. So now multiplying this by the definition of multiplication, we have A1 A2 plus B1 B2 divided by A2 square plus B2 square, cover with the whole brackets, plus I times A2 B1 minus A1 B2 divided by A2 square plus B2 square. So finally, this is what is equal to Z1 divided by Z2. So this is the division of complex numbers. So if you have to actually divide two complex numbers, you just have to have two complex numbers. I'll just show you quickly here. So here we are. If Z1 equals 2 plus 3i and Z2 equals 1 plus 2i, then the division of Z1 by Z2 is given by multiplication of Z1 and the multiplicative inverse of Z2, which is Z1 by Z2, which is equal to, all you have to do is just substitute this formula here by the respective values. A1 is 2, So A2 is 1, so 2 times 1 is 2, plus B1 is 3 and B2 is 2, so 3 times 2 is 6, divided by A2 square. A2 square is going to be still 1, and then B2 square is going to be 4, so this is going to be 5, and plus I times A2 is 1 and B1 is 3, so it's going to be 3, minus A1 is 2 and B2 is 2, so it's going to be 4. 3 minus 4 divided by, again it's going to be 5, right? So this is nothing but 6 plus 2 is 8, 8 divided by 5, plus 3 minus 4 is minus 1, negative, so it's going to be 1 divided by 5i. So this is what is the answer you get when you divide Z1 and Z2 with each other. So 8 by 5 minus 1 by 5i. All you have to do is just substitute this formulae with the values given in the problem. That's all that you have to do. So that ends this little illustration as well as the video on division of complex numbers. I'll see you in the forthcoming videos with more concepts based on complex numbers.